I'm originally from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is an island in the Caribbean, and it's a very green island, you can say. I never realized how much being so close to it served me in a very positive way growing up. When I moved to the United States, I moved to Baltimore, Maryland first. And although it is very beautiful in certain aspects, there's not a lot of greenery around. And then when I moved to Durham, it feels much more like home. It's a very green state. And it just drew me to do something outside, which was gardening. I started doing it independently when I saw the Healthy Harvest option in one of the newsletters that they sent. I was like, this is perfect. I can meet people through a hobby that I love, and I can also give back to the community in some way. I would watch families, parents with their kids running around in the garden and picking fruit, veggies, and feeding the chickens. It's really rewarding to see that and also directly see the people that are being benefited by this. An important caveat is that not everybody has access to healthy food or organic food or because it is expensive and sometimes inaccessible.
Americans are among the biggest consumers of ultra-processed foods in the world. In fact, ultra-processed foods make up more than half of an adult's diet and two-thirds of a child's diet.
We eat so much ultra-processed food because it's convenient, it's readily available. Concerns, though, is that as we consume so much of this ultra-processed food is easier to overeat.
The goal overall is to make it accessible for people to be able to make those healthier choices. Programs that are done through root causes are driven by a lot of the data that the hospital obtains from people with current health conditions that through a healthier lifestyle and through the support of these organizations, they can better their health.
Community health, by definition, is a multi-sector, multidisciplinary public health framework that allows us to work very closely with partners to address those barriers, those unmet social needs in our community. Duke Health for many years has been committed to holistic health and health equity. But research tells us that only 20% of the factors that contribute to good health fall into the clinical care space. 80% fall into socioeconomic factors like where we live, economic stability, food security, education.
I mean, we have people in our surveys report about how, because they have access to this kind of food, that their like numbers are better. We talk about access to food being a cause of disability and an amplifier of disability.
I see a lot of people from Latin communities, Blacks and Hispanics, that are the people that are mostly being benefited by these programs, at least within Durham and at least from what I've seen. Not only food insecurity, but other things that contribute to food insecurity, right? It's not only that people are not eating well, it's people maybe are not mobile and can't go to the grocery store, or people just don't know. Maybe eating a healthy diet, it sounds very overwhelming and taxing when they're like working two jobs.
Our work with food justice really began about 4 years ago, and in starting part and parcel and moving our work into a food space, one of my hardest conversations really with folks as we were making that shift was trying to explain that connection between food access, food apartheid, food sovereignty, like it's how they relate to disability.
The concept of providing groceries to people was like a no-brainer, especially in the current economy where groceries prices are getting really high.
We can create abundance in our community that has historically had even the idea of abundance, like be stripped from them.
As a society, we have become very disconnected from where our food comes from, and the accessibility and agency to be able to grow your own food is very liberating to a lot of people. It's liberating to people that may not be able to afford groceries to know that if you can grow it yourself, you know where it's coming from and you have like that source of food close to you. And it's also therapeutic in the sense of we all know that just being outside in touch with nature is like healing to our mental health. And it also brings people together. It brings community, which is to me the most important thing about doing any of these volunteer programs is bringing people together because like, a stronger community kind of already built itself to like help itself.
Continuing to uphold our principles around sustainability and collective care in amongst the pressure from capitalism and like society to produce.
I am hopeful that we're going to create a positive thing out of a negative situation. So, with grocery prices being so high, I think people trying to make ends meet with what they have or find alternative ways to get that type of food will lead them to start to grow their own food and also really understand how much it takes to grow food. I think we take for granted, like we see a very pretty pepper in the grocery store and we don't understand that there were probably five other peppers that were not that pretty that had to be thrown out, right? So like how hard it is to grow food, how much waste goes into the agricultural industry, and just make people more conscious, and also make themselves feel empowered that they can grow their own food. They are capable, and it also gives you some agency in times of uncertainty. I volunteer sometimes.
Duke Campus Farm, Farmer Food Share, Happy Dirt, West End Community Foundation, first and foremost, being the host of where we hold our market. They are our oldest and most central partner in the work. And then the farms and Seal the Seasons, Ninth Street Bakery, like these folks have never made it so that getting food was the issue. How we're getting food from them is like bolstering their work and is extending their mission. And we are able to then take the funds that we get for this work and we can put it into the infrastructure, we can put it into the people. It creates jobs. We're able to create jobs for disabled people in leadership decision-making positions within the communities that they live, work, and play because we know that the food is coming from these other orgs.
So maybe you were new here and you didn't know people and you're like having money issues and you cannot not afford groceries. Through going to Healthy Harvest or the Fresh Produce program, you meet people that are in your similar situation and you create community to be able to help each other in different ways.